This is Roger.
Good evening and welcome to West Talk. Today is Tuesday, November the 18th. And of course, we've got another fantastic episode for you with two exciting guests joining me right here in studio. But before we get into that, I would just wanted to make a quick remark about the loss of somebody very important in our community and somebody who all of our West Talk viewers would recognize and know. Willie Smith, the general manager of the Cornerbrook Civic Center, passed away tragically last week. And for those who know Willie and those who don't, trust me, it's a big loss to the community. Willie brought a lot of excitement and energy into the Civic Center, where he managed events and happenings there for decades, essentially. And one thing that everybody who knows Willie would know is how proud he was of his family and his colleagues and the things that he was involved in. And so I just want to acknowledge that and let the friends and family and the colleagues at the Civic Center of Willie know that our hearts are with them. And he will be remembered. And thank you, Willie. Now, for today's episode, we're going to talk to, accidentally, this just turned out being like a Pasadena special. Two guests, both young men from Pasadena, my hometown, and with two different stories, but both prolific writers in their own ways. And so first, I'm going to introduce you to a young man from Pasadena, now living in Alberta, but back to promote his new book, Keep Moving, But Stay Still, Cancer's Battle with Me, written by Jake Putt, who was diagnosed with a serious form of cancer at the age of 16 and released this book on the 10-year anniversary of his diagnosis just last month. And so right here, in person, right next to me, Mr. Jake Putt. Jake, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I just noticed that you were, promoting this new book and out doing some signings and stuff, so I wanted to get you in. I didn't realize that you don't even live here anymore.
Yeah, so it was good timing.
Yeah, pretty good timing.
Yeah.
So you're just back in Newfoundland for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And promoting your book. And so obviously you've had a 10-year journey. And one of the first things that jumped out to me in this book is you describe yourself as a part-time writer and a full-time cancer fighter.
Yeah, right? I definitely focus on my health a lot for the most part. That includes workout and the cold exposure I do and a lot of yoga and breath work every day. So that kind of, I think it accredits to my health anyways.
Yeah.
I've learned to make my health my full-time priority, and as well as writing is something I've always wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And it's very therapeutic. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And so if you can bounce us back a little bit, like 10 years, and again, obviously we're going to let this book, which is available, just in case I forget to say it, I know you physically sold out of this book on this promo tour you're doing here, but it's available right now on Amazon and all these things. People can look that up. So, which covers all the things that we're not going to get to talk about in 10 minutes today. But if we can go back to, I guess, when you were 16 a little bit, can you take us back to how quickly things changed for you and just kind of what life was like as a just regular, normal 16-year-old, and then how things changed? What stood out to you at that time?
It's not something you really expect at that age, of course.
Yeah.
That's a time when you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a change up, but like I've mentioned the new normal in that book for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really what I thought it would be, honestly. It's definitely been a more physical journey than oncological.
Yeah.
So.
You mean, can you break that down a little bit for me? You mean, can you explain that for me a little bit more? You mean it's about more than just a tumor?
Yeah. Very much so. I deal with quite a few mobility issues, so I tend to focus on that a lot of times.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of what I do daily to help with, because whether or not that tumor is there, I have mobility issues to deal with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and you have a life to live.
Yeah, right.
So, from the things you just mentioned, all the different ways you're prioritizing your health, the exercise, the cold treatments, and all that kind of stuff. How long into this battle how far along were you before you adopted this plan and just were dedicated on just fighting this?
Yeah. So definitely when the time of initial diagnosis, I would have moved into a healthy diet and stuff, but then I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you mean just like most 16-year-olds?
Yeah.
Your diet consisted of a little bit more pop and Doritos than probably most humans.
Yeah, or just living in Newfoundland.
Right.
Yeah.
Salt beef junkies.
Right. Yeah, so I definitely indulged in a bit of that.
Yeah.
But over the last couple of years, I've definitely learned to focus on my health.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to be doing currently, and it's very holistic as well.
Yeah.
Saying that it's all in my head would have multiple meanings, I guess.
Yeah.
But the things I do help me manage anxiety and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jake, just some of the friends and people who are in both of our lives, people I've chatted to before getting to talk to you.
Yeah.
They talk about how you have such a good outlook and mindset on being a full-time cancer fighter, and also that you're a funny guy.
Yeah.
Right, and that humor seems to be like part of your journey. And I know you can only flick through pages on this book, and there's kind of punchlines jumping out at me everywhere.
Yeah.
So can you talk about just finding humor in something as kind of serious and scary to most people as dealing with cancer?
Yeah, that book is definitely aimed at shining light on a dark topic, and that's kind of what I've done as well. It's something I've learned to help as well.
Yeah.
I've adopted. Well, it's not really an adoption. I guess it was always there, but the humor definitely helps. Even if it's dark humor, it helps to manage. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you find that. I think in places and people who have jobs that are particularly challenging, first responders and people who deal with a lot of darkness on a day-to-day basis professionally, I know that humor is a big part of keeping things kind of calm and chill, and little bits of comic relief goes a long way when things are just being, seeming really unfunny for whatever reason.
Yeah.
On the cover of your book here, I see everything from, somebody doing yoga to skateboards to all these, different sort of icons and imagery. What does this represent, really? Is this saying, and it's all in your brain here? It's all in your head.
Those are the things that I also talk about in the book.
Okay.
It's the book is from my initial diagnosis to what I do now. So that includes.
Is that why there's a duck on the cover of it?
Yeah, I love ducks. Hence the duck cane. Yeah.
Wow.
But so that's included in there for sure.
Yeah.
But the music and what else is there? You said the cold. I think there's a cold temperature thing.
Yeah, there's a thermometer here.
Yeah, right. And skateboarding I used to do a lot of, so.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only time I ever saw you in my life.
Yeah.
Was going around Pasadena, because we weren't in school at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? But by the time you were up in high school, a lot of the skateboarders were kind of graduated and gone on. There was a couple legends around, right?
Yeah,
DJ
right.
Randall and
Yeah.
Lake and these guys.
True.
But you and Patrick were the only young kids skateboarding.
Yeah.
At the time, right? So I know that probably was a big part of your life as well.
It definitely was, yeah. And you wouldn't see me skateboard down Pine Hill anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'll keep an eye. I live on Pine now, so I'll keep an eye out for you. But
yeah, definitely keep an eye out for me if you see me doing that.
I'll come out and stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You made a reference earlier, just off camera, about how there's some other things going on, and how you said you've got a cyst in your brain now as well, and you said, but don't have room for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so much going on.
Right.
But I want just to dial back onto writing and to the last sort of section of this here. You've written this book. Obviously, you've said that this is a form of therapy in a sense, or it's like soothing, or
Yeah.
you find it, brings something positive to your life. But your writing has gone beyond that because you're also a big music lover. And
Right.
so any people who know you, and if you read this book, I imagine people will learn about the time you got to meet one of your, musical heroes, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I met Black Sabbath, yeah.
Right.
With Patrick.
Right, with
Yeah.
your best friend, you got to go and meet, a musical sort of hero of yours. And that I only bring that up to talk about how big of a role music seems to play in your life.
Yeah.
And so can you talk about how you're kind of combining music with your passion for writing and like the new blog that you have on the go?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website, Jake's Music, not to be
Music.
confused with music. Yeah.
That's Jake's MOOSIC.
Yeah. So I write a lot of like post-concert blogs and stuff,
Yeah.
like music journalism kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also write a lot of blogs that are aimed at the fellow chronically ill folks
Yeah.
that like music.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And so people can find it at jakesmusic.com, and I think also on Instagram too, though, you're putting
That's
up these
right.
blogs and things
Yeah.
like that. It's amazing. Jake, in just the last minute of our interview here, I would love to just kind of open the floor to you, and if there's any message at all about your book, anything you want to say about your book, or just a message to anybody who's listening, young or old, what would you say?
I guess you gotta do what you can with what you got, Yeah. Like there's a description on the back of that book that's more about me, but or about that book anyways.
Yeah.
But I hope to be an advocate for people that are dealing with similar issues to what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that book is about.
Yeah.
That's what I plan to do moving forward,
Yeah. I think you'll be an incredible advocate, man.
Thank you.
And I hope to see more from you in the future. I'm sure this is not going to be your last publication. In fact, I know it, right?
Yeah, that, like I said, that book kind of wrote itself.
Yeah.
Maybe in another few years, that one will write itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jake, I want to thank you so much for coming down and chatting with us about your book. All the best and the rest of your little bit of time back home, and make sure you reach out to us the next time you've got a release, eh?
Absolutely. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with another young Pasadenian in studio. Stay tuned. All right, and we are back in studio as promised with another Pasadenian in studio. And we are going to be talking about music because today joining me is Robert Humber to talk about the exciting new release of an album under the name R Sheaves. The album is titled Mary Spins and was recorded and released right here in Corner Brook, Newfoundland, and fresh off of an exciting week at the Music NL Awards. Robert is here with me. Thanks for coming down, man.
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Sorry we didn't really get to connect out there in St. John's, but busy times when
Oh.
you just release an album and you need to talk to everybody.
Yeah. There's so many people out there.
There is. It's a big world. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Newfoundland's music scene is like, basically I always forget about it until these Music Week celebrations, like how much talent is around,
Yeah.
and also now to see how the industry is developing around the artists is really cool. Corner Brook now has its first official music label.
Yeah.
I think first of its kind here. So cool stuff happening, and I just wanted to get you in to see what we can talk about in 10 minutes. Okay?
Yeah.
Now I want to take it back to the early Pasadena days. When I would have seen you around, you were just a little young fella, one of them Utes going around town. And but I do know that you grew up in a musical household.
Yeah.
So can we start there?
Yeah. So, Dad was in the Pasadena band, the Sharecroppers.
The Pasadena band.
The Pasadena. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, growing up, the boys were always in the house.
Were they jamming at your house?
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
they jam, and also they played like, because they were big into the bus tour and
Yes.
the cruise ship scene. So they were just playing like
Yeah.
constantly at that time.
Yeah.
So that was always around. And then also mom always played the piano growing up. Like she was never trained or anything like
Right.
that, but she just would sit down and plunk it out. And
Really?
yeah, she actually has a great ear. So yeah, I mean, it was always around. At that time, I definitely, as you do, I rejected the sort of music that they were playing.
Right, not music, just the sort of music. Like, where, you know, I can understand why you would be being inundated with, let's just say inundated with trad music on a constant basis. Didn't turn you from music.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But then, you know, then you grow up a bit and you're like, oh, you know what?
Next thing you know, you're playing on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So just to cut to that, because before this album came out, and I did touch base with your dad a couple of years ago, and he mentioned it was at the Port, you know, and we were talking about those days, and I thought he mentioned that you were actually at that time starting to play with the band a little bit for some of these things.
Yeah.
And it was at that time that I learned that you were like a multi-instrumentalist, and he was saying that there's really like, you know, as dads do, you know, glow up their sons. But he was saying that there's basically nothing that you couldn't play. And I think when I look at the album now, it seems to be the case.
I definitely, that's a big joy in my life, is picking up something new and figuring out how to, you know, play. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Like I can't shred on anything, but like just getting a sort of base knowledge on a lot of instruments, which sort of allows me now with R Sheaves to build these pretty large, layered musical structures.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the name of the game for me.
I like that. I definitely want to get into the environment that you're creating with this album, because I have a few thoughts on it myself. But if I can continue to lay out your story a little bit. So after you grow up in this musical household, you develop your own musical direction and interests and influences, and then you go to school and jump straight into a music program at MUN, right? No question about that. Like, how far back did you know, like, oh, I can't wait to graduate so I can go study music? Was it a reactionary thing upon graduation, or just?
Yeah, I just felt like, what else am I gonna do other than that? I think in about grade 11, I was getting really into film soundtracks and trying to figure them out on my own. I didn't really grow up with piano lessons or anything like that, so I didn't really know how to read. But I just knew like I had to be creating music. So I kind of did a speed run, getting okay on the tuba, just enough so that they would let me into music school on the tuba.
Was that your high school band instrument?
Yeah, I started in like grade 11.
Whoa, late to the game.
Yeah, just like, okay, you know, there's not a lot of tubists.
You weren't in band in grade school?
I was, but I played oboe.
Oh,
and then
oboe.
And then the tuba graduated.
Wow.
So Miss Din, shout out Kathy Din, was like, Robert, can you learn the tuba real quick?
So you dialed in on the tuba as a way to complement application, because I guess you would have told your music teacher, like, hey, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then at that time, Miss Din would have kind of jumped in and started supporting that direction?
Big time. I would not have made it into MUN without Miss Din.
Wow.
100%, yeah.
Wow. Shout out Miss Din.
Yeah.
So you finish up at MUN, you go carry right on, and you go to UBC, get a master's in composition, I guess. So can you just, for the folks at home, can you just describe what an education in music looks like when you're focusing on composition versus when you might be focusing on other aspects of, such a nebulous thing in terms of music?
So I think what going to school for composition gave me is a long stretch of time in which I was able to just focus on the ins and outs of what makes music, what makes me tick, musically. And you just sit at the library and open up scores and just listen to this music for hours. And so you learn theory and you learn all these things, but I actually think that the greatest part of that was just the time, and that's something that you're not really able to get in the same way unless you're just steeped in music 24/7.
Unless you allowed that to be your focus.
Yeah.
Just totally immersed in it. That's a very good answer. Okay, so now I want to talk about this album, because everything that you've just said already is painting a better picture of me, is already informing my understanding of this album. Like talking about film scores and things. Like as I was listening to the album, even just driving down today, I'm like, this is like a score. It's very dynamic. It's very it's like dark in places, but it's light in places. I thought, can you just clear up one thing for me? Is there a theremin in this album? What am I
No.
hearing that sounds like a theremin?
It's a saw, like
Really?
like a hand saw.
Okay.
So if you take
That's some horror movie stuff right there. See?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you take a saw and you bend it in an S curve and use a bow, like
Yeah.
a violin bow, you can like sort
Wow.
of create these. Yeah.
So-
It does sound theremin-y.
It does,
Yeah.
because of the precision of it. Like, I wouldn't have expected that you can bend the saw into so precisely.
Yeah. Well, it's not that precise.
All right, Lou made it precise, or?
No. But I like the. It sounds like a woman's voice, but just kind of like haunted in
Yeah.
some sort of way. And I like the kind of like, just in general, I like sounds that are slightly imperfect and
Yeah.
have some sort of a different emotion. Yeah,
Yeah, the kind of thing you can only achieve with a nice saw.
with a saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
can we talk about just if you could explain the album over, in one, I won't say one word, but what's the briefest way that you could explain this album to somebody who was only going to get to listen to it once, and you wanted to try to just paint a picture for them of how you landed, in this direction?
I think the album is really a journey that awards a full listen through.
Yeah.
It has an arc. It has a ton of influences because I'm influenced by a ton of different types of music. It's definitely like it's been marketed as folk.
Yeah.
But it's really on the edge, I think, of what that is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of instrumentation. It's quite an introspective album. Like I made it sort of on my own, just with one microphone, the whole album.
Yeah, you recorded all the instrumentation with some exceptions.
With
that
some
you've
exceptions,
listed,
yeah.
But
Like
mostly you
Jessica,
played everything on
my
it,
wife
right?
is on it a lot. But yeah, and so it just feels like a real look inside my mind at that point in my life. And that's kind of what I hope to accomplish in general with my music, is be able to look back, like, hopefully like 50 years from now and see my, like, where I was at all these different moments in my life. So
Very
that's the goal.
interesting. So when you listen to this album, when you look at this album, you must have a really, like all artists, I guess, but it's a kind of a time capsule for you. There's things that you can pull from every song that really nobody else can in that sense. And I got a sense that it was an album that was meant to be listened front to back. Because there's tracks on there that are 38 seconds long.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's part of the whole. It's an interesting part of the whole. In just the final moment of our interview here, if somebody was going to listen to one track on this album, this might be a tricky question. If they were going to try to listen to one track that was going to help them understand the album as a whole, what track would that be? And you can't say Mary Spins because there's like 5 of them. So
Yeah. That's really hard for me to answer. I think I'm quite proud of the song "Why Didn't I Cry," which is the longest track on the album. It's almost 7 minutes long, and it's sort of it talks about grief. A lot of the album actually deals with grief and sort of shame. That doesn't like it truly was sort of born of a difficult time in my life, and I think that track kind of encapsulates that. But just listen to the whole thing.
Listen to the whole thing. Yeah, life
the
is short.
real
Listen to
answer.
music. No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much, very much. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question because we're probably going to pull something out from the beginning because I should have asked you this anyway. But can you briefly talk about what's going on at LHM and just about the process of working with Lou and Nigel and what you guys are all doing together?
Yeah, it's been such a blessing to have 62 Broadway, LHM, Milltown Records. So my record came out on Milltown Records, but that's really just an offshoot, like a more local offshoot of LHM. Beyond them getting the music out into people's ears, which is hard to do on your own, and I was prepared to do that, and but beyond that, they're just building a community here, like a new sort of like wave of Corner Brook musicians that are supporting each other, and it's all sort of coming from that building. 62 Broadway. Lou mastered the record, did an amazing job. Nigel, of course, gets it out into the ears, and Scott Shepherd also. Well, he's in my band.
He's in every band.
Yeah, he's in every band.
Because he's a wizard.
And Debbie and Jeff. So I said everybody.
The whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. We're definitely planning on having like Nigel and Lou in the future to come in and talk more about it. But it seems like this project and this album is, probably it's a very exciting release for Milltown Records. I can see there's a lot of energy going into it. And I wish you nothing but continued success with it. And I hope that we will be seeing each other at the East Coast Music Awards coming up in the spring, where I'm sure this album's going to continue to get the same kind of love that it got at Music Week in St. John's last week, where people seem to really be excited about it all. So any last moment, any last little shout out you want to give to anybody in your life? We briefly mentioned your wife, who is also a musician. You guys work so closely together, providing musical instruction, which if anybody has a kid and they want to start to light the flame in their life, I know you guys can be there for them.
If you want music lessons, find me, or actually Jessica's not very online. Find me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and we'll help you out. Jessica's an amazing fiddler and also teaches piano and guitar, and she's a music therapist.
Wow.
She's a certified music therapist.
Dang.
So.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, my friend, for coming down.
Thanks, Dustin.
And look forward. The next time people in Western Newfoundland will have an opportunity to see you, please make sure you shoot me a message so I can let the audience know as well that that's on the go, okay?
Awesome.
We are going to take a break, and we'll be back to wrap up this episode. Stay tuned. And that's it for today's episode. I want to thank Jake Putt for coming down and talking all about his book, Cancer's Battle with Me. You can buy that book right now on Amazon, and I strongly recommend that you go and do it. I also want to thank Robert Humber for coming down to tell us all about his new project, R Sheaves, and the album Mary Spins, which is available anywhere that you consume your music. So make sure you go and check it out. That's it for this week's episode, but we'll be back next Tuesday with another West Talk. Thanks.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
What Canadian fish can grow to be as big as me?
Looks like it has a beard, won't freeze in icy waters,
And will swallow rocks just to eat the creatures attached to them.
If you guess the Atlantic cod, you're right. These cool fish hang out at the bottom of the ocean off the east coast of Canada. To learn more about them, visit our website at hww.ca.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
You all right?
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. You okay?
I'm fine.
Every community has a story worth sharing, and Rogers